I'm Bambi Francisco for Vader TV, the network for innovators. Can a community improve search results? Well, Eurekster is betting on it. Well, joining me to talk about social search and Eurekster is Steven Marder. He's the CEO and co-founder. Steven, thanks for joining us.
Sure, thanks for the invitation.
Eurekster launched in 2004, and so you've been around social search. The idea of social search has been around for 3 years, but how much of an intersection is there between social search communities and searching?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really part of the evolution of search, which began back in kind of the early to mid 90s, and so for us, we see in watching the evolution of search from kind of the link analysis and PageRank, or even earlier than that, the directory, where Yahoo would hire guides to basically go out, find the best sites, and create that directory. So it went from the directory experience to really the pure keyword-driven search experience, which was based on more link analysis and PageRank, which Google has obviously popularized in very big fashion. But again, it was all around general search and the general search experience. So we think over the last bunch of years, being able to capture and harness kind of the collective wisdom of users and then apply that on top of kind of algorithmic search is really this next generation of providing more of a, whether it's community-powered or personalized search. But
this really works for vertical sites, correct? Or does it work for a general search engine?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think when people look at social search, they think about applying social search to the general search opportunity. And I think from our perspective, we believe that's still very challenging, right? So when people do a general search, how much do you know about them? And so a lot of times the big engines require people to log in or register and provide personal information in order to provide them with kind of a personalized experience. And from our perspective, it's really more about if you're on a vertical site or a locally driven site. So when it comes to local search or vertically oriented search or contextually oriented search or socially connected search, that's where social search really shines.
Who's really using your product if you're talking about these communities and vertical communities? I think you said you have about 23,000 publishers right now.
Yeah, that's right. And what we found, we started out, we started working with more of the branded publishers, because when you think about the web and you think about sites, most of them have some type of community or some type of verticality or locality around them. And so, of course, we went to the big communities, the big branded publishers who have lots of vertical content. And as much as the value proposition is really clear there, we said, there's this personal publishing push. There's, the influx of blogs, right? There's millions and millions of blogs. And people with passion around some type of topical interest, right? And then they build community around it. And whether it's 50 people who are enthused around gardening or even roses specifically, or whether it's 5 million people, it's still a community, and it's still a publisher that has expertise and passion to kind of provide the best contextual experience. And so now that search is really a core behavior in accessing information and products and services on the web, what we wanted to do was empower those even smaller publishers to provide that highly specialized experience. So to answer your question, most of our customers now are really the small to medium publishers, the bloggers, even what we might call the infopreneurs.
So that's the 23,000 that you have.
That's right. So we've got about 23,000 publishers, and of course some are larger than others, and they've built around 100,000 what we call swickis, which is our product.
I have one of those.
Yeah, no, exactly, and we appreciate that support. And so it's really that search plus wiki, and again, it's allowing the publisher to guide the experience, but then bringing the community wisdom and passion for that topic of interest into the mix.
Now, do you make, I think you told me that there's 20 million searches conducted across your platform or your network a month. So do you make money off of those searches? And if you do, how do you make money off those searches?
Of course, yeah. I mean, because we are a business, we're definitely focused on driving value and reflecting that in revenue. So we make money by serving up advertising. So we help our publishers actually generate more search activity in addition to providing a better user experience, and then we take a piece of that, and that tends to be
similar to the Google's
search
model.
Exactly right.
Okay, so how do you drive searches? Or is that is your over the next 6 months or a year, is it driving more people to get swickis? Put swickis up, or driving them to search more?
It's a great question as well. And for us, phase one, it was really about getting people to build them, right? Getting publishers to understand that they really do have this power and that they should publish just like they're publishing a site and aggregating content that makes most sense for their community, that now they can publish a highly specialized search engine. And so now what's happening is now that we have 100,000 of these, I mean, think about 100,000 highly specialized search engines exist, each one of them vertically oriented or locally oriented. Now it's about allowing people to grab them and share them as well. And that's also part of the fascinating movement over the last year and a half when it comes to kind of the widget world.
Right.
Where it's so much easier to not only build something on your site or put something on your site, but actually allow your users to grab things, right? Grab applications or functionality and share it with each other.
So how do you drive usage? How do you drive people to search more?
Sure. So first off, when somebody comes to your site, now instead of just a search box, it's a highly specialized search box, and what we have is a buzz cloud, which really is this kind of tag cloud type of UI, which initially was just a bunch of keywords that were representing the activity within the community, which is really interesting. When you really think about it, it's user-generated content because it's being generated by that very specific community. So that's of interest to users, so that would engage them more, so they would search more and interact with that site's content more. Okay, so that's number one, and then of course that would drive more paid clicks as well. That's number two. So page views and paid clicks, and also would reinforce the brand of the publisher, which at the end of the day, or even beginning of the day, you know, any publisher of any site or magazine or property is trying to reinforce their brand through better user experience.
Right. Okay. So how about going into social networks? Did you ever think about going into a MySpace or a Facebook?
Sure. You know, it's
or
funny.
would you like to do that? I'm sure that works, right?
Well, you know, the interesting thing is when we began, we actually did that first. We went and did a deal with Friendster at the beginning, like literally back in, I think it was 2004. It seems like even longer ago. But we worked with them, and what we did is we took the same methodology and applied it against a social network, right? So you and your friends' search activity would influence the search results. And it was quite fascinating to watch that across 15 to 20 million people, right? Because each person has a unique network. What we found is it didn't really, at the pure social level, it didn't really improve relevancy. It was very interesting content and information, so the buzz cloud had great content and drove more traffic, but the relevancy of the searches was not dramatically impacted. So the next step is if you can verticalize the social experience, right? So it's a bunch of friends, but then it's a bunch of friends that really came together because they like hang gliding or surfing. Right. Then you can improve relevancy in addition to user engagement.
If Facebook launched a vertical search or social search, do you think it would work?
You know, again, I think they would find that there are the same challenges, and so it really depends. We see an opportunity to stay within their groups area, where once you can verticalize it, or once people can opt into some area of topical interest, and then applying, say, our technology to that is really, that can be very compelling.
One last question. Give us an example of how social search is generating relevant results, better results than a regular
search engine. Sure. Well, there's two ways it happens, right? So first off, when you build a Swiki, a publisher decides that there's a specific vertical area that they want to focus on, so they can choose today web content, blog content. They can bring in images, and in fact, recently, as you may know, we just launched with video.
Sure.
And so they can create this experience which is highly specialized for their very specific community or audience. So the first search by the first user is already dramatically different, right? Not just the search results page and experience in terms of the blended results, but it's already filtered by that publisher who has some expertise and passion in that area of interest. And then our real deep technology, once those users start to use that Swiki, and so they engage, they search, they find things, not find things, we watch all that behavior, and then we behaviorally re-rank those search results to create an even more customized and specialized search experience as you go. So, you know, most of our customers, as soon as they build a Swiki and they run a few searches just on their own, they see the dramatic difference. Because again, they're putting their personality, their perspective on it. Now, they may be right or wrong. They may be more relevant, or just, it depends on how you define relevance. Right?
Okay. I lied. I have one more question. You raised $5.5 million recently. Does that get you to break even, or at what point will you reach break even?
Yeah, we believe we'll hit break even probably the latter part of next year.
Okay.
You know, our focus has really been on providing a great tool set for publishers to provide this highly specialized experience, and we're out there in various channels on a global basis, and our investors are also globally driven. So we were very focused on not just the U.S. market and the English-speaking market. I mean, right now we're in 15 countries, over 15 languages. We'll be rolling out in Asia in deeper fashion later this year. So we see this, I mean, it's the global community and their global needs, and there's global publishing, and that's the beauty of the web.
Well, maybe we'll have to bring it into the Vader community. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Steven. I've been speaking with Steven Marder. He's the CEO and co-founder of Eurekster. I'm Bambi Francisco.